Hi YouTube family, Stacy here from the King Family Vlogs. Today I'm going to share with you 7 truths about downsizing with kids.
What does it take to leave it all behind? We'll see it happen one step at a time. Here we go. We get lost until we're found, darling. Here we go.
About 6 months ago, we decided to make some pretty crazy life changes to better align with the direction we wanted our family to go in and what was important and valuable to us. So we were thinking about selling our house and what direction we wanted to move in, and we kept coming back to the realization that we wished that we could sell our belongings and travel around and have lots of adventure like all those families you see on YouTube that either travel full-time or like live in the really cool tiny houses or campers. But we knew that just wasn't for us. Our kids play sports and love going to school, and both Ryan and I love our jobs and do not want to quit and wouldn't want to leave our house full-time. So we decided that the next best thing for our family was to downsize. If you want to see the whole story, I will link our moving story right up here and you can kind of hear the whole story behind the move. So basically we decided, since we didn't want to uproot our whole life, that the best decision for our family would be to downsize. So we actually sold our brand new build dream home, you know, with the fancy appliances and the granite countertops and the big mortgage, and we actually sold it in 3 days and had to be out in 3 weeks. So right now we are in a rent house. We may be here in the future because we do have the option to buy at the end of our lease. And so we may buy this house and put a little money into fixing it up, but we don't really know where we will be in March. But we do know that we have loved downsizing, and so anything, if it's not this house, our new house that we get will probably be along the same lines, pretty similar. So our rent house that we're currently in is way smaller than our old house, and we actually have nowhere near the fanciness. We have popcorn ceilings, old appliances, old electricity from a brand new house. So how are we hanging in? I'm about to share the truths with you. Number 1, you are going to get mixed reactions when you tell people that you are downsizing. When you tell people that you're gonna downsize and the reasons behind it, some people are going to tell you, oh my gosh, that is so awesome. That is so cool. That is so inspiring. And it's really fun to talk with them and kind of share your dreams and your hopes and what you hope to get out of it. But in reality, downsizing is not the way most of the world works. Most people buy their starter home and then they get a bigger home and then they get a bigger home. And you know what? For most people, that works phenomenally. I have so many friends who are such homebodies and get so much joy from their gardens and having big families over for dinner, and downsizing just would not be for them. So I'm not saying that everyone in the whole world has to downsize or it's the only right way. But on the same lines, since it is the norm to keep moving up and moving up and moving up, a lot of people will look at you like you're crazy. Like, why would you want to move into a smaller house? Your kids are only gonna get bigger. How are your kids gonna share a room? Don't they all need their own room? How are you ever gonna survive without granite countertops? The moral of the story is to just keep a positive attitude, explain your reasons why, whether it be like us to have more adventure. I've known people who downsized because they wanted to become debt free. I've known people who downsized because they wanted to become minimalist and not have just so many things in their life. Whatever your truth is about downsizing, just make sure to share it with a positive attitude and take everyone else's opinions with a grain of salt, and just realize that you know what's best for your family. Number 2, it forces you to become intentional with your things. This was number 1 that I did not expect to happen. Before we even moved, we did the whole like great purge, getting rid of stuff that you didn't need anymore, broken things, you know, things you like what you do when you move, or before Christmas or before birthdays. And I thought that that was gonna be enough, but now that we've moved, we've actually got enough space for everything we've had, but it's kind of taught us that we don't need as much. For example, I was going through my boys' clothes for back to school, and they're gonna be wearing uniforms this year. I realized that Easton has 42 shirts. Granted, a lot of them have been handed down, half of them new, but he's gonna be wearing a uniform to school 5 days a week. He does not need that many shirts. So while we are far from wanting to become minimalist, we have been super inspired to be intentional about the things that we do have. And we are in the process of going through room by room, you know, category by category, and really asking ourselves, does this bring me joy? Does it have a purpose in my life? And if it doesn't, then it's gonna go out the window, because I have read studies, I know there's studies out there that actually correlate the amount of things that you own to the amount of stress you have in your life. Having only the absolute necessary amount of clothes means that you only have to do a small amount of laundry. Only having the dishes that you truly need means that you can wash less dishes. Only having certain toys that enrich your children and help them grow and that they truly love means less things that they're pulling out of the shelves all the time. So this move has brought to light for us exactly what we want in our home, and we are going to kick that clutter to the curb. Number 3 may not resonate with everyone, but for our situation, it was one thing. Probably the hardest thing for me has been feeling like I am stuck or I am in limbo. Because we sold our house so fast and did have to move into a rent house, it's kind of put me in this place where I don't know really what to do with decorating, with organizing, since I don't know if we are going to be here in this specific house long term. I love to decorate, love to get things organized, and so for me it's just been kind of hard. Like, I want to redecorate the boys' bedroom, but if I get them new furniture, is it gonna fit if we're not in this house? You know, we would love to get a new couch, but we don't want to buy a couch for this house and end up somewhere else. You know, I can't paint the walls the color I want to. If I hate the color of the dining room, for example, it's green. I can't change it. Like, normally I would just run to Lowe's, grab some paint, and sling it up on the wall, and I just can't do that. In that regard, you know, just wanting to have a nice house that looks pulled together, but not really quite being able to do that has probably been the hardest thing for me so far. Number 4 is another one that's completely unexpected, and one that I just, you know, didn't even think about when we were thinking about downsizing, is that it almost forces you to become closer as a family. And this is probably, out of all the things that have come out of our move, my favorite thing. In our old house, we had a bonus room, and we had the couch up there, we had the boys' PlayStation, we had all their toys, and it was glorious because everything stayed up there, my downstairs stayed clean, all their stuff was together. But I didn't realize that we were actually living in the same house, but kind of living separate lives. The boys would go upstairs and play, Ryan and I would be downstairs cooking or getting things done, or, you know, watching TV that we wanted to watch, and we were just in 2 separate areas. Now that we have a smaller house, the boys are very near to us, so we'll be watching TV and they might run in the room and say, "Hey Mom, guess what I just learned in my book?" Or, "Hey Mom, watch me do this new trick." And, you know, we can be cooking, cleaning, and we're all just kind of together. And it wasn't until we had that togetherness that I realized how divided we were before. And so now every time I hear their little feet pattering to run up, I just get like a big smile on my face, and it makes me super happy. Unless it's at bedtime and your 3-year-old is pattering towards you for the 5th time wanting more milk, then it's not happy. Number 5, you're probably going to have to make some sacrifices. Whether your sacrifices are going to come in lack of space, so having to get rid of stuff, or, you know, like for us, you know, not being able to decorate or paint the walls the way we want to. Downsizing is probably gonna come with some sacrifices somewhere. For us, our biggest sacrifice has been the kitchen. It actually has great storage, but the appliances are super old, and Ryan, my husband, just loves to cook, and he's very good at cooking. It's kind of his hobby. And so going from having that nice kitchen to having the tiniest oven ever and an old stove has kind of been one of the big sacrifices that we have had to make. But all good things are worth the struggle, right? And that doesn't mean it has to be that way forever. You can find ways to adapt and change and make things work for you in a new way, even if it is different than the way that you've always done it before. Number 6, you will expand your mind and your kids will expand their mind as well. We have been open with our kids throughout our whole move, our whole downsize, our whole changing, because we really wanted to start teaching them these core values that were very important to us. Mainly that, you know, being together as a family, valuing experiences over things, realizing that having the fanciest or the best is not always the best. Make it a priority not to bring more clutter and things into your house, being intentional when you go shop and about what you're actually purchasing and bringing into your home. All of that has kind of expanded for us. We don't just run and just pick things up because we feel like it, or we're not just like out at Kohl's and, hey, I see this, I'm gonna buy it and bring it into my home and then never use it. That has been very eye-opening for us. It has helped me to save a lot of money, because let's be honest, I'm always the one that was out doing that. But it has even bled down into our kids through all of our conversations and them seeing us model the new behavior and hearing us talk about it and discussing it with them. Even now, you know, we'll be at Walmart and they used to always ask me, Mom, can we have a toy? Can we get this? And I'm not saying they don't ever do it, because let's be honest, they're kids, they're supposed to ask for stuff. But there has been many moments where they have said, oh, let's not get a toy today. We're gonna save this because we wanna go get airplane tickets to go here. And so they're getting it, they're thinking about things like that and what's important. Also, my kids actually decided on their own that they would rather have experiences over gifts for their birthday, which kind of blew my mind a little bit. And it was just another way that showed us that they are taking this new approach of downsizing to heart. And last but not least, the one that I know you guys have probably been expecting this whole time is by downsizing and simplifying and minimizing your life, you will have more money for adventure and bonding experiences with your family. And I'm not just talking about fancy vacations and plane tickets, although it is nice to put some of that extra money towards fun things. I'm talking about little adventures too. Whether it's just going up to get a snow cone or running to someplace fun like Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's, or traveling your own state is one thing that we are super looking forward to doing. Just doing little mini trips to places that are close to us that we've just never devoted the time or the money to exploring. Also, remember, adventure doesn't always have to mean going somewhere or doing something. Adventure could also mean working towards a goal together with your family. And I set a goal for ourselves to run a half marathon in the spring, and we are getting started on our training right now, and it was super nice to be able to go buy new running shoes, or to know that when we have to start going on long runs, we can pay to have a babysitter come over and sit with our boys. It could be buying bikes and going bike riding together with your family. It could also mean exploring your own mind and getting stuff to do science experiments and books and different learning activities for your family. Right now, we're learning about atoms because we watched Wrinkle in Time and we want to learn how to Tesser. So I told the boys we can't start with quantum mechanics. We need to start with the basics, but we may get there one day. That being said, don't always just assume adventure means travel. It can mean anything that brings your family closer together. So I hope you liked our 7 truths on downsizing. If you have downsized recently or ever in your life in any way, shape, or form, then let us know. We need your tricks, we need your hacks, and we just want to hear how your experience went overall. For us, it's been great, and I would suggest it and I would do it all over again. Even though there has been those few little trials, in the long run, we've become closer as a family and we have way more time and money for adventure and bonding. Until next time, bye.